Lenny Moore had a unique capacity for seeing things that other runners were unable to see. He had the equivalent of what the military calls night vision, and he moved with such effortless grace and nonchalance that even his own teammates were in awe of his talent.
He was my inspiration. He was an idol almost to me because I used to look forward to going to practice to watch him run. He was so smooth. He could lay his feet down and walk on eggs without breaking them. And he would stop on a dime. He would set the blocker up for you.
As a runner, he had to be one of the most fluid, coordinated. He probably had the sixth sense. Anytime someone would get close to him, he just knew how to cut. Fluid, he was like a symphony on the football field.
Every time Lenny Moore was given the ball, it was the beginning of a unique adventure, a classic in cleats.
Lenny Moore was probably pound for pound the best offensive weapon, scoring weapon that I've ever seen. Plus, Lenny Moore was a real team player. He was a humble guy.
Lenny learned the true meaning of humility from his mother, who worked as a housemaid while he attended school.
I remember one day when I was at Penn State, I came home and I rode up together and I parked the car, and of course, inside here, I said, oh, wow, you know, Mom's, you know, scrubbing floors, you know, whatever, you know. Went up, I rapped on the door, and the lady came to the door. I said, come to see Mrs. Moore. I said, I'm her son. Oh, you must be Lenny, you know, you're home from school? I said, yes. Okay, fine, I'll get her. And boy, something went through me. Whew. Yeah, I'll never forget it as long as I live. I got in that car, and I prayed to God. I said, Lord, if you ever make it possible for me to do anything that my mother will never scrub another floor. And I cried, boy, and then she came out, you know, and I straightened myself out.
Lenny's desire to succeed resulted in many great plays, but none as memorable as this catch against the Detroit Lions.
I felt a glow come over my body. And it's hard to describe, and it was good Lord. A glow came over my body. I dove, that ball stuck, and I pulled the ball to my stomach as I slid into the end zone, you know, through the end zone. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
After 5 years as an All-Pro, Lenny's glow of success faded into the shadows of complacency. His instant fame had dulled his desire and softened his will to work. His play was marred by fumbles, mistakes, and poorly run pass patterns.
You know, Lenny was a great talent, natural. He never had to work much for it. And he was careless, and he had a couple of bad experiences fumbling, probably cost us the division championship one year.
There was no place on Don Shula's Colts for a player whose talent was no longer as large as his scrapbook. And in 1963, Lenny Moore's career seemed over.
I dedicated myself in 1964. I said, well, if they think I'm through, I'm going to show them that I'm not through. and I'm going to have the best year I've ever had because it's going to start from day one. My attitude changed and my dedication was toward proving that I was still there, that I could still do the job.
The magic was gone, but the will, the desire returned. Throughout the season, Moore remained a persistent, heroic presence, a determined, relentless competitor who never stopped trying, even as a 31-year-old member of the special teams. Moore scored a record 20 touchdowns, led the league in scoring, and the Colts won the championship of the Western Conference. At the season's end, Moore was again an All-Pro. He received the Comeback Player of the Year award and was voted the most valuable player in the NFL. But Lenny Moore had another reason to savor the season of '64. His success erased a debt to his own pride, and 3 years later, he retired, certain of his place in the game's history.